Have you ever done this? Or this? How about this? Well, you're not alone. These are very common scratches. The good news is they are easily avoidable. In this video, I demonstrate a categorized collection of recurring scratches and show the best ways to both detect and prevent them. I want to thank Kurt for suggesting the video idea along with some of the example shots. The simplest scratch is following a ball into a pocket. An easy way to avoid it is with a stop shot. I can also cheat the pocket to my left or to my right. Here's another common follow scratch. It looks like a scratch shouldn't be a concern with the cut angle on the shot, but if you hit the 8 a little too full, the topspin can make the cue ball hug the rail. Did you see the 8 hit the cushion first? And did you see how the topspin curved the cue ball back toward the rail after rebound? This can happen even to top pros at times, sometimes even twice during the same game. If you cut the ball enough, this sort of scratch is not a problem. Did you see the 8 hit the far facing of the pocket, and the cue ball swing out well wide of the pocket? Another common scratch is drawing straight back into a pocket. Here, attempting to draw back for the 8, a scratch is a concern. But if I cheat the pocket to my right, I can easily avoid the scratch and get good shape. The most common scratches occur with natural angle follow shots. For a rolling cue ball, the 30-degree rule peace sign can be used to visualize this direction. FYI, links to all systems and techniques used in this video can be found below in the video description or pinned comment. The peace sign predicts a scratch here, and here, and here. So how do you avoid a scratch when the natural angle points to a pocket? Well, the approach depends on the game situation. Here, a stun shot is a good play. Here, draw is the way to go. Here, I could just slow roll the ball to come up short, but that sort of shot is difficult to control. A better approach is a tweener shot with partial forward roll to go in between the stun and natural angle directions. Stun shot scratches along the tangent line are also common. Remember, the 90-degree rule predicts that with a stun shot, where the cue ball has no top or bottom spin at contact with the object ball, the cue ball will head perpendicular to the object ball direction. You can use your cue to visualize the tangent line by pointing the joint at the pocket in the ghost ball position as if you are trying to push the object ball to the pocket. A stun shot results in a scratch. The scratch is also on in this direction. Anytime the ghost ball position for a shot is on a circular arc through the pockets and the spot, a stun shot will scratch. For example, here the ghost ball position required to pocket the 8 is on the foot spot. A stun shot will scratch. The same also applies to this 8-ball position. Here's another shot where the ghost ball position is on the stun arc, so the scratch is on. The same applies here. The stun arc is interesting and can be useful, but all you really need to remember is the 90-degree rule. If the tangent line points to the pocket, a stun shot scratches. Again, what you do to avoid a scratch might depend on the game situation. I could follow into the end rail to go 2 rails up table. I could also add right spin to go off 3 or 4 rails instead. As with all side spin shots, I use the System for Aiming with Side Spin, or SAS, to get an accurate line of aim to compensate for cue ball deflection. See the link below for more information. I could just slow roll the ball, but drawing off the side cushion is more reliable and leaves more room for error. Draw shots at angles can also lead to scratches. The 3 times the angle system can be useful to detect these situations. You just need to be able to visualize the cut angle for the shot. With a good action draw shot, the cue ball will leave at twice the angle it enters. You can use your cue to visualize this direction. Again, see the link below for more information and detailed demonstrations. Here, good action draw with an accurate hit comes up just short of the corner. However, if your tip is a hair lower, or if you cheat the pocket to the right a little with a fuller hit, you can scratch. Again, the specific game situation will determine how you avoid the scratch. The natural angle heads toward the short side of the 8, but that is not a good choice here. A partial roll tweener between the natural angle and stun directions is an improvement, but it risks scratching and is difficult to control. A much better play here is a partial backspin draw shot tweener between the stun and good action draw directions. I can use a little draw like this, but a better play, with much more room for error, is more draw to come into the larger part of the shape zone. I could also cheat the pocket to the right a little with a slightly fuller hit and use good action draw to come off the side rail for an even better line into the 8. Rail cut shots like this can be problematic for some people. Rolling the cue ball sends it in the natural angle direction off the rail to scratch in the corner. And if I instead use good action draw, a scratch in the side is possible. With a draw shot close to a rail like this, the 3 times the angle system predicts that the cue ball will leave the rail at twice the angle it enters. You can visualize the angles with your cue, or you can use a peace sign to measure and duplicate the angle. An obvious way to avoid the scratch is to just stun across the table. But in different game situations, other choices will be required. Here, I can just roll forward with a little right spin to target the end rail. Or I can use a little left spin instead to head above the corner and come more into the line of the 8. Here, I can use good action draw with a little left spin to head off the long rail above the side pocket. I could instead use inside follow or top right spin to go forward off 3 rails. The choice will depend on preference or might be forced by other balls on the table that might block some paths. Here, I need outside draw or bottom left spin to get a good line into the 8. When shooting at a hanger in a corner pocket, there are many common scratches that can occur. First, rolling the cue ball parallel to a rail with a half ball hit scratches in the opposite side. This also occurs along the short rail. Shooting from about a diamond below the side pocket with a half ball hit scratches in the opposite corner. And shooting from about a diamond above the side pocket with a half ball hit scratches in the adjacent corner. See the hanger link below if you want to learn others and how to use cut and spin to change cue ball direction. Now let's look at common one-rail position plays that often lead to scratches. These examples could also apply to the last shot of a game. Either way, a scratch is a bad thing. Here, the scratch is natural in the side. Here, the scratch is natural in the upper corner. Here, the scratch is natural cross-side. And here, the scratch is natural cross-corner. Now let's look at common two-rail position plays that often lead to scratches. Here, the scratch is natural off two rails in the opposite side. This is another common scratch going off two rails up table. The 45-degree rule, covered in detail at the link below, can be used to judge shots like this and prevent a scratch. The rule states that if the cue ball heads into the end rail at a 45-degree angle, the cue ball will go through the center of the table and not scratch. My cue shows that I need stun down the tangent line to get the 45-degree angle into the rail. Using follow instead sends the cue ball into the rail at a steeper angle, causing the cue ball to go long of the table center. And using draw instead sends the cue ball into the rail at a shallower angle, causing the cue ball to go short of the table center. Again, the path you choose will depend on other balls on the table and position requirements for the next shot. Finally, let's look at common scratches during standard break shots. If breaking at an angle, you need to be careful to get a square hit. If not, a scratch in the side is very likely. Pocketing balls, spreading the others, and giving your opponent ball in hand will usually not end well. Here's an excerpt from my The Break Made Simple video that explains how to get better results. The most common 8-ball break strategy is to place the cue ball slightly off center and hit the lead ball as squarely as possible. The main goal is to pocket one or both second row balls. Here are some examples showing both second row balls going. Even if only one of the second row balls goes, it is still a good break. If using a second ball break instead, you need to be careful to not clip the first ball. This often results in a scratch. You also need to be careful to not hit the second row ball too thin, or with too much topspin, or with not enough speed. Any of those things can also lead to a scratch. Here's another excerpt explaining recommended strategy. An alternative 8-ball break approach is the second ball break. With the cue ball close to the side rail, you aim to hit the second ball as squarely as possible without risking hitting the lead ball. The main goal is to pocket the far corner ball. With a tight rack on a bar box table, it goes every time. Here are some examples. As always, see the links below in the video description or pinned comment for more information and examples. And good luck with your game from Dr. Dave!